Okay, so the iPhone XR, I got it on the first day itself, been using it as my main, and this is not a full review or anything like that, but just wanted to talk about a couple of things, starting with the color. So I got the product red, was actually really excited for it from the MKBHD video, but after watching the review of the Verge, I kinda like the black one more now. There's something about the combination of the black front bezel, the black frame and the black rear. I think they combine really well. But the red is pretty great too. This one at least is different for me from the usual black and white. I just wished it was a slightly darker shade of red, but it's probably just me. The other thing that I felt immediately was the heft. Now this is a completely new size of iPhones and it's actually on the larger side. So chances are it will be one of the largest phones you'll use, and that actually makes it slightly uncomfortable to hold with one hand. Plus it's 200 grams and pretty thick. Basically what I'm trying to say is this is the least confidence I've had in holding a phone naked. It's extremely expensive and really delicate. There is just no way I can use this without any sort of protection. The minimum being a bumper case, the best being a full all-around case. I actually use both of them, kinda keep flickering between them from time to time, and the ones that I use are from Rhino Shield. For me they are the best in the business, both in terms of looks and protection. They are built really well, really solid, yet they are not very bulky. They come in a variety of colors and finishes like leather, soft and even walnut. Plus you can further customize them by choosing different colored buttons and rims. They are pretty intense. I'll leave them linked below. Highly recommend it. But let's talk about that display, probably the most talked about aspect of the XR. Well, firstly, that bezel. That is a thick bezel, there is no way to hide it, to put it out bluntly, there's no hack, you have to live with it. But after having used the XR for a couple of days, I don't notice it at all. Probably the logic being the uniformity in the thickness of that bezel all around the frame, of course except for the notch. Basically what I'm trying to say is that the bezel, the side bezels are equally as thick as the chin, meaning the chin is just as thin as the side bezels, if you make sense about that. Since most of you will put the phone in a case, once you do that, I'll make complete sense, I promise that. It is not a big deal. But that display, so it's a slightly above than 720p display, and yes, the same amount of pixels every single inch as the iPhone 4 from 8 years ago. And honestly, my first impression the moment I unboxed the phone and when I set it up was that it did not look as crisp and as punchy as I was expecting it to be. I probably expected it to live up to iPhone 10 standards because of how similar it is to the 10 in terms of looks, but an LCD cannot compete with an OLED, especially not with a higher resolution OLED display. That being said, this is not, according to me, a deal breaker. I think it still has one of the best colors in any display. That is something that I always say about the iPhones. It does have slightly poor viewing angles, so there is a brightness drop when you tilt the phone. But is it a bad display? Clearly no. It actually depends from person to person. For someone who has used other phones with really high resolution displays, for him or her there might be a slight noticeable difference in the initial stage of using this device, but for the most, that is the majority, a lower resolution display is mostly an on-paper disappointment. In real life, it's perfectly alright. Okay, camera. Now, I haven't used it a lot, just took a few shots, a couple of selfies, but one shot that I would like to talk about is this one. I mean, this is my go-to shot whenever I'm testing a phone's camera, but it has never looked so good. The colors, the dynamic range, the natural blur, because this is not a portrait image, it just leaves me more excited to use it even more. Even the low light images have really stunned me. I mean, there has been minimal grain, maximum detail. But further testing is required, hence so far very excited. It's clearly not all good, like it takes a lot of time to charge, and also the notch literally cuts into the display while playing PUBG. That is annoying to a completely different level, but it is software. It can be fixed, it will be fixed. So stay tuned for the full review. That's pretty much it for this quick little short video. Let me know if you have any specific questions and I'll address those in my full in-depth take on this device. That's been it. The new iPads are looking awesome and so is the new Mac Mini. That might be a hint. Okay, see you in the next one. Take care.